All right, gang, let's dive right into it. Welcome to Brilliant Directories Webinar Wednesday, where we hope to provide you with tips to grow your online community. I'm Jason there on the left. We are also lucky to have Rick with us, and Patrick. Rick is one of the support specialists here at Brilliant Directories. Many of you have probably interacted with him at some point in time through the support ticketing system. And Patrick is one of the leading strategists who I've met and a good friend, and we're lucky to have both of you on the webinar here today. Thank you for joining.
All right, thanks, Jason. It's always a pleasure.
To be here, Jason.
All right. And if this is your first webinar Wednesday, welcome. I always encourage everyone to join our Facebook strategy group. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. It's a great place to carry on the conversation after webinar Wednesdays. There's huge participation from the members of that group. I myself, I'm pretty active in there, and there's some great conversations started in there. So if we don't get to your question here on webinar Wednesday, please join the Facebook group and we can connect there. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And if you want to take a few seconds to do that now, we'll wait for you. And just as a refresher for everyone out there, Webinar Wednesday was created as a way to strengthen and increase the community value of Brilliant Directories. And we've learned a lot from each other, both from suggestions that you've shared and ideas we've come up with through talking through issues and solutions through Webinar Wednesday. It's a great platform to sharpen up your marketing skills. So we love to cover questions and topics such as converting visitors into paying or free members of your site, using SEO to increase your website traffic, identifying revenue opportunities that make sense for your industry. So if you're interested, if you're a for-profit directory, you want to maximize your revenue, those are always our favorite things to talk about here. And also one of my personal topics is how to improve the website navigation. We always seem to circle back to this when we're looking at somebody's website and trying to provide some feedback and tips. A lot of it comes down to a simple, direct, and straightforward website navigation. So these are some topics that we have. If you have questions, get them ready. We'll be getting to them soon later in the webinar. Hey! It's Webinar Wednesday number 50. Congratulations to everyone who's ever joined a Webinar Wednesday with us. It's been over almost 2 years, I'd say, that we've been doing Webinar Wednesdays. It's my favorite time of the week. We have over 100 hours of recorded training on our website. We have a few more that we'll be releasing in the next week or so that is currently going through editing. But on behalf of the entire Brilliant Directories team and you guys, the attendees, who make it all possible by joining and asking your questions and coming up with topics, I personally want to thank you. I know Pat's thankful, and also Rick. So thank you guys so much for joining in on the Webinar Wednesdays, and onward and upward. We can't wait to get to 500 Webinar Wednesdays eventually one day. So thank you guys. It's really huge that we've been able to stick with this, stay consistent, and I feel like we're part of a family here, everyone that's part of Webinar Wednesdays. All right, and I wanted to do a flash survey. This month is special. We're doing back-to-back webinars, so I think it's hard for everyone to get to each Webinar Wednesday this week. But I was curious, I'm going to launch a survey here. It's going to come up on your screen. How many in the audience today are existing BD customers or BD users, and who's maybe checking out Brilliant Directories on a free trial, or you're just investigating to learn more about the product? I'm just curious here. Okay, so almost everyone is voted in. If you want to just select one of the options, it looks like 60% have one website. Well, that's changing pretty quick right now, actually. So looks like 30% of the attendees here today, 25-30%, have multiple BD websites, and about 10 or 15% are checking out Brilliant Directories. So that's awesome. If you're interested in starting your own directory website, this is a great place to kind of see some examples of live websites and also learn how the platform works. All right, going to close that survey down. Thanks everyone for voting in. Always fun to do those surveys. All right, and we do have some lab updates, noteworthy ones. I think you guys will get, I know Pat's pretty excited about a lot of these. Let me pull up some of these updates here. I want to get something ready before I get into them. So a lot of these are related to how the member signs up and some of the membership level settings that you have to kind of streamline the process. All right, let's cover the first one, is upgrade email template and what that means. So now what you have, and let me go to the admin area, under the finance tab, when you toggle over to manage products, and this didn't exist before, you can now edit a product and you can create a custom email template in the email section. And what you want to do is you can select the upgrade email that's sent. So if somebody upgrades from a lower level to, in this example, the diamond level, they'll get an email, specific email welcoming them to their upgrade of the diamond level. So this is hugely powerful. You can send them tons of thank you messages in that custom email. You can tell them what features they've unlocked by upgrading. Before, you couldn't designate an individual upgrade email based on the membership level. It was just one generic upgrade email that applied to any type of membership level upgrade. So you have a lot more power here, and you can provide members with a lot more information and make them feel really good about the plan they've upgraded to, and even include other plans that they can upgrade to now that they're part of the, in this example, the diamond level. Pat, do you have any thoughts or feedback on using a feature like this?
No, I think you basically covered the primary points and strategies I would try to leverage, which is really promoting the tools that they unlock. Maybe there's members only content that you get when you upgrade, so you want to make sure that you include a link to that members only content in that upgrade membership level for that specific membership type. And the better your experience is after upgrading, the less likely you are to want to downgrade again if you can just get off to a good start.
That's right. And let me just show everyone, I don't want to get into too much detail about the email templates, but under your emails, you have email templates. And what's easy is if you kind of copy one that you have or clone it, and then you can edit it to your needs. And then each customized email template is an option that you can choose when you're trying to pre-select the upgrade email template. All right, this one's a game changer, actually, is pre-selecting the top level category when somebody signs up. A lot of websites out there only have one top level category, or they don't want their members based on their membership level to select their top level category. And this is actually a feature that stemmed from Webinar Wednesdays in the past, and it's finally released. And I'm going to break it down in a nutshell what it can do. But this one I'm definitely going to pass over to Pat, because he's got a million. It's like a Swiss Army knife, this feature, 1,000,001 ways that this feature can benefit your site. And again, it really depends on what your model is and things like that. But we're going to show you some of the benefits of this one. So with this one, you also want to go back to your managed products under the finance tab. And I'm just going to edit the diamond one again. And when that pops up, if we scroll down here, right in the general tab, you can pre-select the top level category. So they're not going to see this on the sign up page, but when a member signs up, it's going to store their top level category in the database. So that's already going to be, once they start filling out their profile with their phone number and company name, they're not going to need to select their top level category. They can just go straight to the sub level categories and skip that whole step. So it really streamlines the process. And just while we're here, let me talk about the second update here, pre-selecting whether it's an individual or a company. So when a profile is an individual, you'll see the first and last name on the public profile page. When it's a company, it won't show that the first name and last name. That'll just be for your internal contact records of the person who's kind of managing that profile for the company. So here you can pre-select the listing type, company or organization. These will be hidden on the sign up page, but it will store the information that you select. So if you wanted it to be a company or organization, and in this case, the top level category is an interior designer, those values would automatically get stored, and you could remove them from the currently where someone would select those on when they're filling out their profile information. So Pat, I want to kind of pass it over to you. And I know that the key focus is really the pre-selecting the top category. Can you kind of share with us your thoughts and what instances this becomes helpful and valuable for a website?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say this is one of the things that I've had to customize the most in the past, and it was quite a workaround for me to go in and customize that for my for different billing directories users. So I'm really excited about this update and what it means for everybody on this particular webinar and in the future. So to me, there's a couple of different ways that you can leverage this. The easiest one to explain is probably really being able to manage the type of categories people can select. I'll give you a very easy example. Let's say I had a directory where I was signing up schools and I was signing up teachers. In this example, I would want to probably charge differently, thinking if you're a school, you probably have a much bigger budget than if you're a teacher on my directory. In the past, however, it's very difficult for me to charge a different rate because once you sign up on the directory, you can just select whatever category you're looking for, and there's many more people that are searching for schools than they are searching for individual teachers. Just a simplistic example, right?
So let me backtrack there. So just in this
Mhm.
very simple example, so a teacher, for example, would pay $10 and a school would pay $100. And
That'd be a good example. Like my TOEFL school, our courses cost $17.99, so $1,799 is what an average TOEFL course costs in a particular niche that I sell courses. So a school, I would actually charge them a couple $100 a month because of the amount of money they can earn selling a course on that directory.
okay, but the problem before was, let's say someone signed up for $10 or $100. Let's say a school signed up for the $10. The next step would be for them to select their top level category when they're creating their profile page, and they could just toggle over to being a school, and they just pay $10 to be a teacher. But with this,
That
you're saying you can lock them in based on the plan they signed up to. They can't change their main category.
Exactly. I'm guaranteeing to the people that pay a higher tier that they're going to be the only ones that can show up for people that are searching for school. So if they're searching for a TOEFL course, a Spanish program, a volunteer program, the only people that will be able to check off those sub-level categories are going to be the people that pay the monthly fee to be a school in the first place because I'm auto selecting that for them. And a teacher that signs up for $10 a month or perhaps free even, they're never going to be able to select that because they'll be locked into the teacher category.
Gotcha. Do we want to show an example of how this works?
Sure, why not? I have an example of a second scenario that leverages something a little bit different. That first scenario is one of the benefits is that it allows you to charge a more accurate fee based on the type of categories that someone can select. So you can leverage that to earn more money for your directory.
Gotcha. You want me to pass the controls over to you? Do you
Sure,
in your example?
sure, sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right. You should have the controls now, Pat.
Okay. So the second scenario, something that I really like to do for this is we all have, well, the majority of us have general users. A general user is somebody that would interact with a directory and would perhaps want to favorite something, bookmark content. They'll want to create a general user account. It's the user of your website. And one of the things I love doing is collecting data on general users that are signing up on a directory and be able to segment marketing campaigns to those general users. One of the best ways to do that is to be able to lock them into a category that's exclusive for general users, meaning I'm not intending for those categories to be searchable. There may be a slight amount of customization in that, but the bottom line is in the general users section itself, you'll see that I have a top level category called interior design fan, and that is exclusive for them. I want to know what things they're interested in when they sign up. So I'll actually go ahead and I'll create an account on the fly, if you don't mind, Jason, and show people how this works. So we're going to sign up as a general user on this website. Just put in a random email. So there's a couple of things that we did actually. We've pre-selected their category to be an interior design fan, but we've also selected them to be an individual and a person, and I'll show people what that means when we actually complete the profile. So I need to select bicycles. I create a lot of accounts. And that's why Google makes me do a little bit more tests than most would have to do to verify my accounts, but that's okay. So now that I'm logged in and I go to my contact details form, you're going to see that there is no top level category and there is no are you a company or are you an individual? Again, because we've pre-selected that at sign up. So if we do Steve Smith, whoops, my apologies. If we do Steve Smith and we do Smith's team, we'll just invent whatever. Since I'm pre-selected as an individual, it means that my company name will not be what displays. And when I go to the next step of this setup, I'm going to be able to select categories that are exclusively set for me as a general user. So we can see here, it says Steve Smith. It recognizes me as an individual. This is good because I'm guaranteeing a company can't slip through the cracks and try to create a company profile. So if they're saying, hey, why is my company name not showing? They might send me an email and I'll say, oh, it looks like you signed up for a general user account. Looks like you want to sign up for a company account. Here's a membership tier for that. There's a fee for being a company listing. This is exclusively for general users. And when we go to the listing details tab, I'm instantly in the category I'm supposed to be going into. And when I go and select my interest, this is only a general user will ever see these categories. No one else will ever see this when they're creating their profile listings. So I'm going to go ahead and save that.
Now, I think this listing type is non-searchable, so they're not going to have a profile page to check out. But you, as the website owner, can now search which members have selected these top level and sub level categories in the admin area, Pat, and then obviously export that list.
Exactly. I use it for marketing. So if I come in here and I look at my members, and this is one of my favorite tools on Brilliant Directories that is quite underutilized, is I'm able to filter based on the categories that people selected, and I'm then able to export that. So if I want to say, I want to be able to get all of my designer fans that have an interest in kitchens, and I can do a search for that. I can then export all of those general users that have expressed an exact interest in that, and get them to engage with my website. So it's really great for segmented marketing materials and exporting that for a marketing campaign.
Awesome. I'm going to grab the controls back for a second here. I want to just ask you guys out there, is anyone using just one top level category on their sites? If we could see from a show of hands, who's using a single top level category on their sites? And if you don't mind, I just want to unmute your microphone real quick here. Good friend Rick here. Rick, I've unmuted your microphone.
Hey, Jason, how's it going?
Awesome, man. How you doing?
Real good.
And hey, thanks for the participation in the Facebook group. Your answers are super, super helpful, the way you're writing them out there.
My pleasure.
So you're using one top-level category on your site, right?
Correct.
Did you have to do a hack or a workaround to hide that when they're signing up, since it's kind of they're just selecting one option, or are you having them select the top-level category every time they sign up?
No, I believe what we did do a workaround. I believe what we did is we hid that in the form, and I worked with support, and this is going back about a year ago, but they did give me a way for it to automatically be logged on the back end like you guys are providing now.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, this will help for new people setting up their sites. You're not going to have to do those kind of complex workarounds.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks for sharing, Rick.
Sure thing.
All right, let's see. I'm going to lower everyone's hands. Actually, I want to ask a little different question. Does anyone want this set up on their site if you just have one top-level category right now? Maybe we could use your site as an example. Let's see if anyone has raised their hands. We got our friend Brent here. Brent, how are you today?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Pretty good. Where are you calling from, Brent?
Brisbane, Australia.
Okay. So you have a site and you'd like to pre-select the top level categories?
Yeah, like at the moment I've got multiple top level categories, but there's always a bit of confusion. Like when a plumber goes in there, okay, they don't know that they should sit under whatever top level category it is. They're just thinking I'm a plumber, and so it'd be nice to just have the single top level category as an automatic selection, and they just find the sub category as a plumber.
Right. What's the name of your site? Do you mind so we can check it out?
Yeah, sure. It's just sorry, I got a bit of a cold. It's WHATS, your YOUR, ours HOURS.com.
Gotcha. All right. Let me let's see if we can pull that up here. All right, got it up here. So let's just take a look at your homepage and see what the sign-up process is. Grab your free business listing. So you're servicing many businesses then, and they're going to choose a plan. So actually, in your case, and let's take a look at some of your categories here. You might still want the member to select their top level category. You have 26 top level categories. It would be hard to.
Jason, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you saying because you'd like to create a landing page and have for plumbers to sign up and they just create their account and they're instantly set up as a plumber? Is that the end goal of your strategy?
Well, yeah, that could potentially work. I suppose, to me, if I'm going in there as a tradesman, or if I'm going there as whatever I am, a hairdresser or whatever, I don't want to have to think about what category do I sit under above hairdresser. I just want to think I'm a hairdresser.
Gotcha. Let's just log in as one of the members here. Let's see what they see from the member's perspective. Oh, by the way, I like the colors of your site here. So you added a field here. How did you hear about us? That's great. We're actually, that's going to be in Rick's Corner today. And then you have best describes you, and they can choose from, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, at some point they're going to have to choose what they offer. But with this, Pat brings up a great point. If you have a specific landing page and a specific membership level just for the plumbers, or at least the base membership level, so they're just registering as a plumber, you could omit and skip this step. You can remove this best describes you field because it will already be selected for the member. I see how that could be. So yeah, I think for you, right now this step is required because any type of business is signing up, they're going to have to choose this. But probably when you create unique landing pages, you could start utilizing this feature that's offered.
Just a quick question then. What if, all right, I changed all of those, top level categories there just to one single top level category, so they can only choose one thing, like business or whatever we call it, and then they go to selecting plumber or whatever underneath that, or hairdresser or whatever.
Yeah, you could do that. Generally, the subcategories are selected with the listing details page. But yeah, if that's pre-selected, the top level category, then they're just going to see a nice grid of the available categories. So it's a little easier than looking at it as far as a drop down, like you have it in a drop down menu. It's just seeing them in a nice table, like three rows by three rows, three columns by three rows. That might be a little easier for the user. So I guess for every site, it will matter like how many categories you have and what the category hierarchy is. If you have top levels, sub levels, sub levels, you could decide what's going to provide the best user experience. But yeah, I think the key with this is now you have that flexibility to create the user experience that's bespoke and best for your site.
Cool.
All right. Awesome, Brent. Thanks for sharing your site with us.
Thank you.
Welcome there. Cool site there. See, he's added some custom fields for hours. Nice there. All right, let's move on from this one.
Jason, real quick, because it is important. If anybody follows the advice I gave today, there's going to be one important step that's missing, which is hiding it from the field. And perhaps you just want to show that final step on the interior design demo. Because if you pre-select the top level category and you do not want your members to be able to change that top level category, there's just one minor step missing at that point, and that would be going into the form and just hiding the fields so that your members are not able to edit the entry.
Absolutely. So that's a good point. I'll just take a second to show that. First, let's log in as a member so we can see the what we call the best describes you field. So I'll just log in here. Oh, let's just log in here. Looks like an account. And let's see if this person has the best describes you field. Yeah, so there's a top level category here. And what we want to do, this membership level is the interior designer contributor. So what we want to do is go to our form manager. And the name of that form is the contact details form. So I'm just going to search contact here, and it's the listing contact details member. That's generally the one that the members fill out. And once you're here, this is basically the form. Everything is in percentage signs because they are text labels. But let me scroll down here. And what you want to look for, if you're curious which one it is, it's the one that has the database variable name, profession ID. All right, and the field type is top level category. What you can do is you can delete this actually, or you can set it to. Well, actually, I would recommend just kind of deleting it, because if you're going to go this route, you can always add it back if you need to. But let me go ahead and delete it here. And let me save the changes. So if I'm going to utilize this strategy, now if I scroll down here, the top category, if I refresh the page, it's not there anymore. It just goes company, your position. So it kind of helps streamline the process during the sign up process, excuse me, of when a member is joining your site. It's one less thing for them to have to worry about. But as Pat says, you want to make sure that there's if you're going to assign a top level category, that they're signing up to that top level category. If you just have one top level category on your site and everything is nested under that, that's a lot easier. But if you're going to have plumbers and tradesmen and other things like that, you want to make sure you have a specific landing page for a specific membership level sign up link, and that will help avoid any conflicts between who's getting assigned to which top level categories. But super helpful. I know a lot of you out there are probably excited about this. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier, and there's a lot of applications for why this can be helpful. But we got a lot to cover today. More awesome updates. We have 2 new search filters, and I want to go over exactly what those are. Now, if you go to your transaction history page, so what I did is before the webinar, I kind of made a dummy site with some just some info that we can search. Let me go to that site and show you the search filters that you now have. Okay, perfect. So if you come to your dashboard, a lot of you are familiar with the transaction history page. So the new reporting is awesome on the transaction history page. You could see payments received, upcoming payments, past due, refund, and stuff. So I just loaded this site with some dummy data. I use the products we have at BD and things like that just to make my life easier with this. So what we have here are 2 new things you can search. One of them is the billing cycle. So you can see all the payments that were either monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually, or one time. So why is this awesome? Let's say you wanted to see how many monthly payments you received 2 months ago. So let's go to August. And we can see with kind of the spoof data here, if we do search transactions, give that a second to load. So we can see that for monthly payments in this example, there was $127,000 of recurring monthly payments here. So you can see it says recurs monthly, and we can see the promo codes that were used and things like that. The second filter, that's for all billing cycles. Let me go monthly. Let's search that. So we have a date range and we've selected the billing cycle. You can also search your annual. So in this one, we know that we had 26,000 in monthly payments that were generated in this time frame. So that's really cool because you can see kind of how much annual revenue you're kind of doing each month and how much monthly revenue you're actually realizing each month with the type of subscription cycle a member's on. The second thing is you can now search by the promo code that was used. So let me clear these fields. So there's a promo code that we loaded in here. Is VIP 30. So if we search how many times this promo code was used, perfect. So we can see this promo code has generated a total of 37,000 in sales. There's people on subscriptions with this promo code. There's upcoming payments. There's some past due people on this promo code. There have been some refunded payments on this promo code, and so on. So these two new fields give you tons more reporting for your transaction history. I think it's super valuable for getting an idea of how your products are doing and things like that. So obviously you can also search by the membership level, the name, the type of product that it is. But I think with these two, gives you a great snapshot of the condition of your revenue with your company. And we're gonna talk about this a little bit more later in the revenue. But Pat, do you have anything to add with these two new filters being here?
I think that about covers it. We'll go into a lot more details soon here, but I think this is pretty amazing, especially that promo code tracking.
Awesome. All right, so those are the lab updates for today. There's actually tons more. Just wanted to hold back because we wanted to explain these a bit more. But let's continue and move on forward because we have a great segment coming up for you guys right now called Rick's Corner. And Rick is going to kind of touch on something that's a very common question that we hear both in the Facebook group and in support tickets. It's how to add and edit fields that members fill out for their profiles. And we kind of saw an example of that on Brent's site right now. So Rick, can you tell us a little bit about what this problem is and how we can solve it?
Sure thing, Jason, and thank you very much. So basically what happens is that the website comes by default with certain profiles and certain fields already predetermined, right? However, there are specific scenarios in which you might need to change those form fields. You might need to tailor them more towards your own industry rather than the generic type of field that we set up by default. So the idea behind today's webinar is to show you how easy it is to modify those fields, to even add new fields in case you need to, and what are the two settings that you need to play around with if you want to hide a field from the form itself, or if you want to hide it from the live profile.
So Rick, what are some of the, you said that your site comes with like kind of some preset form fields. Like what kind of form fields are we talking about here?
Great question, Jason. So for example, like the awards, the honors and awards fields, like those that show up on the listing details form, the honors and awards, like the quote or motto, for example, that's also another one that shows up on the listing details. Preferred forms of payment. Those are all different. Like those are different and optional form fields that show up by default on your website.
All right, cool. So I want to pass over the controls to you. Can you kind of show us, let's say I wanted to get rid of honors and awards and I wanted to just create something new. Can you kind of show us how we can do that?
Yes, I'll be happy to. Please go ahead and share the controls if you don't mind.
All right, you got it, Rick.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let me go ahead and use this. This website that I'm on right now. You should be. This is just the same site that Pat was using before. So these are the. Let's go ahead and get to the form manager so we can start the edit process. So we're gonna navigate to Toolbox. We're gonna open up the form manager. The form that we're gonna edit is the listing details for the members. So let me go ahead and search for listing details. All right. The one that we're gonna edit is this one, the one related to the member. All right. So let me go ahead and hit edit here. What basically I'm after here are the different form fields that we were talking about before. So I'm just going to scroll down here, and we get to the honors and awards. If we jump to the members dashboard, basically this is how it's going to look for them. So let me go to the listing details form here real quick. And this is the form field that we're basically going to work on. All right, so this is a multi-line text input field. We can also play around with that, and that's another easy setting that we have at our disposal. So let's say that we want to change the wording. So honors and awards, it's not basically going to work for me at this point. So I'm going to change this to my favorite colors. All right, and I'm going to switch this from a multi-line text input field. I'm going to switch that to drop-down select, just for the purpose of this demonstration, right? I'm just going to go ahead and add some colors here. So green, comma, red, comma, blue, comma, white. All right, and comma, black. All right, let me go ahead and save this here real quick. All right, so now I'm going to save the changes and hit OK. All right, just going to finish loading here. So after doing this, what I'll do is just go back to the form that the member is going to fill out when they're registering on my website. And now here we have the form field that we changed. So my favorite colors, and here we have green, we have red, blue, white, and black. So let's say,
can you save that so
we
can save a color so we can see it on the what it looks like on the member's profile page?
Of course. So let me go ahead and choose green, and I'm just going to save this. So I'm going to scroll down and hit save real quick. There you go. Save and process. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump to the public listing. And here we have my favorite colors and the color that was selected, which is green.
Okay.
So super easy.
Is there a way to get members to save that information, but if you don't want it to show up on the public profile page, so it's just saved internally by the member?
Yes, and it's super easy as well. Those basically are the two settings that I briefly mentioned earlier. Let's go ahead and check those out. So I'm going to jump to the form and scroll down. Okay, so here we have my favorite colors, right? Let me open up this here. And what we have here is show in display view and show input view. So the show in input view basically makes reference to the form field that the member is going to fill out. And then show in display view, it's basically what's going to show up on the live profile. So if I switch this to no, and I save the form again, even though the information has been saved, meaning that the member has shared this information with the website owner, it's not going to show up on the live profile here. So let's wait for that to finish loading. And let's go ahead and refresh this. So there you go. The field is no longer showing up here. If we refresh the listing details form, you'll see that it's still going to show up here, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the number one things for, especially when you're first starting your site, because that's when you're spending most of the time setting up your site, is how can you add these custom fields that the member fills out so it's more in line with your industry and the market that you're targeting. So how would someone go about creating a brand new, I know that you modified the honors and awards. Let's say we wanted to just, let's say there's like 50 pieces of information we wanted to collect from our members. How can you create a new type of input field that the members will have to fill out rather than just modifying one of the existing ones?
All right. So yeah, repurposing is always a good way to go. If you can modify what's currently there, it's a lot easier. But actually creating a new form field in itself it's nothing complicated at all. What we're going to do is we're going to also add it to the listing details form that we're on. We're going to click this button here in the top right corner. It says new form field. All right. What we're going to add here is my favorite motorcycles. All right, so this is going to be the new form field that I'm going to create. Here on the field type, I also need to select, of course, the field type. I'm gonna go ahead and select the drop-down select as well, like we did before. Very important, you need to add a database variable name. So when you're creating a new form field, you need to create where that information is gonna be stored in the database. And just simply by adding a database variable name, you're basically going to create that. So I'm going to call this motorcycles for now.
Nice and simple.
Right?
Yeah.
Nice and simple. Correct. The other thing that it's important to note is that when you're creating a new one, in order to have the right layout for that specific form field, you need to use the following CSS class. It's called form-control. All right, so super easy form control that will give it the nice layout that all the form fields have. And finally, I'm just going to add the options. So here I'm going to add a few brands. So got the Honda, comma, KTM, comma, and BMW. Super easy. All right, so now let's go ahead and save the form fields. Bear in mind, Jason, that I've just saved this here in the top, but you can always play around with the location of the form field, right? What I'm basically trying to say is that if we go back to the jump back here to the members dashboard, to the listing details form, and we refresh the page, this should show up on the top, right? So my favorite motorcycles. Nevertheless, you can again play around with the location, so we can grab it and drop it under the personal quote or moto, sorry, and then just save it again. Keep playing around with it and hit OK, and then you're going to be set to go.
Now, you keep clicking that edit button, and there's a lot of confusing options there. Which one is the ones that I really need to worry about or be concerned with?
So here, I the my favorite motorcycles that we created, and I'm going to show you which ones. The one that's labeled show in display view and the one that's labeled show in input view. Those are the two that I would recommend focusing on.
Okay.
You want me to explain what they do?
Well, the display view one decides if the information is filled in, if it's going to show on the profile page or not. What can you show us what the input view one does exactly? We haven't set that to no yet.
All right, let's do it. So let's switch this to no. What that will do is that it will hide it from the form so that the member doesn't fill it out. So if I save this, let me just save it real quick, hit OK. So bear in mind, we're addressing the my favorite motorcycles. So it's currently here under, because that's where it was. But if I hit refresh, then it's no longer going to show.
Gotcha. Super simple. So you can add stuff. You can make them drop downs or just regular text inputs. Thank you for sharing that, Rick.
No problem. My pleasure, Jason.
All right. My favorite segment here in Webinar Wednesdays has become the tip of the week. And sometimes we talk about marketing, setting up your site. This one we wanted to talk about sites that are actively generating revenue with a sales team. So the tip of the week here is how to track revenue from your sales reps. It's very common that you have a site and you put a marketing team in place or a sales team in place, and you want to pay them based on the revenue that they generate for your site. So we have in the tip of the week 3 simple ways to track your sales reps revenue that they've generated, and some of it ties into some of the new features that we added today on the search filters that we just showed you on the transaction history page. But Pat, can you tell us some instances or why it's important to track revenue and to do it accurately?
No, absolutely. Basically, what you want to do is you want to make sure that people get their due. If you're going to ever have people join your team, and most growing directories do have people join their team eventually, it's important you have a system in place that they can have confidence in, because nothing will deter somebody from working on your sales team or promoting your website more than them feeling that perhaps they're not getting the credit for the people that they've had sign up on your website. Also, for your accounting purposes, it's just as important for you to make sure you're not overpaying on commissions and on payments to people that are selling for your particular website.
Awesome. And so we came up with 3 ways here. One of them is to use the membership level settings that you have and make a membership level that each sales rep gets to use. And then obviously through the transaction history filters, you can search date ranges and the product that was purchased. So if the product is like premium level hyphen JSON, you'll know that, or an ID number if you want to use it, you'll know that that product sale is associated with that that rep. The other one is to use in a managed affiliate software, and those are really helpful because they add a lot of automation as far as paying out the sales reps and things like that. But those, we'll talk about the pros and cons a little bit. Sometimes those require a little more complex setup and can sometimes be costly depending on the program that you use. And then lastly, one of the features that we think is the best way is to provide your sales reps with their own coupon codes, because now you can search by coupon code in the transaction history page. It's very easy to see if you assign a specific coupon code to a rep, which customers utilize those codes during the checkout process. So let's dive right into it and talk about the pros and cons of these three methods for tracking revenue. So Pat, this was the first one that came to mind when we were talking about this topic. So what are some of the pros and cons of assigning an individual membership level that a rep uses when they're trying to sell the product?
Yeah, well, the biggest pro is that it is quick and easy to create a product for a specific sales rep. So let's say I have Rick is one of my sales rep and I want him to start selling on my directory. I could create membership levels that I know are 100% dedicated to him, meaning I don't have that product on my website. Nobody can sign up for that product. The only way people would get access to that product would be if Rick, my sales rep, provided them with the link to that particular sign up page. And if you go to the membership levels, I renamed a couple of membership levels in the interior designer and I added Rick there just as an example. All of the different products on billing directories have a sign up page. So this is a custom URL. Had we pointed this domain and set up the SSL for the website, it would be on your domain. So it would be mydomain.com/checkout/10. And that would be an exclusive sign up page for Rick. So when he's selling to his potential prospects, he would be giving that link to complete the sign up, or perhaps he'd be collecting the credit card himself and he'd be processing it on that form. However, he would choose to manage customers he's bringing onto the site.
Yeah, I think this model works great when you have 5 or less sales reps. You can just make a membership level for each one of them. So that brings us to some of the cons is if you have like a premium membership level and you have one for Pat and Rick and Jason, every time you edit it and maybe you're going to change the settings for that, you're going to have to do it for each sales rep so that the members that are part of this membership level have all the privileges or restrictions that are assigned to your premium membership level. So it's a small amount of upkeep when you have similar membership levels that for different reps. And then what that turns into is you're managing a lot of products on your site at one time. So rather than just having 3 membership plans, it's going to be exponential based on how many sales reps are using those for their using individual checkout pages for those products. But it is quick and easy, and it's easy to track that revenue on the transaction histories page. Just search the date range and the name of the product. It should have an ID or something that corresponds to the sales rep, so it's easily identifiable.
Yeah, and something else that I find is just a little bit of a nuisance at times is that if you put Rick in the name, I did it for the sake of this webinar, but they're going to see that on the sign up page. They're going to see that when they're logged into their account. They're going to see level premium member -Rick. So it's not as simple as just putting their name on there because there are different places where that name's going to appear. I just did it for the sake of demonstrating that you can create different products, but then you probably have very similar names of products and you have to track them by ID. So the tracking could be a little complex, and that could hurt the confidence of the sales reps if there's not a clear way for them to identify which ones are theirs.
That's right. Alternatively, instead of using the sales rep's name, you could use you can use an ID number that you come up with, or just something that sounds cool to be part of the membership level name, like featured member, and you could say like public profile, and public profile is associated to Rick, and it doesn't really hurt the sign up process for the customer at all.
Correct.
Something like that. All right, which brings us to number 2, managed affiliate software. So what is affiliate software, Pat, and how can this be helpful?
So affiliate software is designed specifically for tracking and paying out people that are selling and promoting your website. Probably one of the things that it does that it's best at is tracking cookies, which means if I am a sales rep, I could be an active sales rep, meaning I get on the phone and I try to sell people to join your website, or I go door to door and I try to sell your particular products, or perhaps all I do is I get busy sending traffic to your website. Perhaps I do a Facebook campaign and I send a ton of traffic to a specific affiliate link. And what this affiliate software will do is it will keep track of who visited your website and which person deserves credit for that person visiting your website. And usually they'll track it for 90 days, sometimes up to 180 days. And if that person that you sent to the website signs up anywhere within that window, they don't need to sign up immediately when they click the link. But if they sign up in 30 days, if they sign up in 90 days, the person that's responsible for sending them to your site via the affiliate link will get the credit for that, and the affiliate software will take care of the payout structure, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think that's the best part is they kind of you keep a credit card or debit card on file with the affiliate software, and they'll take money out of your account that's supposed to go to the sales rep. And it's all automated. Some of them even give you the option to void a transaction. Maybe there was a refund or it was a false sale or invalid sale. You can kind of stop it through the affiliate program. So yeah, this is a great way to give your salespeople links to your website, affiliate links to your website, and also maybe grow your sales force by getting lots of people to drive traffic to your website and rewarding them with a small percentage of whatever sales come from the traffic that they've diverted or attracted to your website. The cons here is just requires some setup. You have to kind of get some embed code and put it on your site. Sometimes it's a little costly on the initial setup, and then you're going to have to learn a new platform. I don't think they're terribly complicated, but you're now going to have to manage things on two platforms. But the convenience is that the payouts to the sales reps is not something you need to do with a calculator yourself. It'll automatically do it based on the percentages for the commissions or flat fees that you've assigned for that sales rep.
That's correct, and I've seen a lot of people that are starting out, in particular, perhaps it's their first online business, and they're just basically getting their proof of concept, and they spend a lot of time setting up their affiliate software, learning that new tool. Like you say, oftentimes it's quite costly to get that set up. And what they don't realize is if you're just a startup and you just got started and you think you're just going to set up your affiliate software and people will be banging on your door to sell your website, there's no traffic, there's no value. It's a very competitive landscape, meaning that the people that sign up for affiliate software and they want to start selling products that can sell, they're quite picky in terms of what it is they're going to want to sell. So probably this would not be where I would start. And I think you're going to introduce another one that I think is a much better option for somebody that's getting started and that they can easily track the sales. And it's quite easy to set up and bring a lot of value to the affiliates that you bring on board.
That's right. And that brings us to door number 3 here. That will be assigning specific coupon codes for each sales rep. So can you tell us a little bit about how this one works, Pat, and why I think we both and Rick think that this is the best option, whether you're starting or even if you're more established now with the new transaction history search filter?
Yeah, and there's a lot of value with this. First and foremost, thanks to the new filters that you've introduced in the transaction tab, you're able to forever track how much revenue you need to pay out to your sales reps, which means if I use a coupon code and I give a 20% discount on the recurring billing using that coupon code, as long as that coupon code is getting used, I'm going to be able to track that in the billing transactions. What's great about this is I would have my core products. I would have a basic level and I would have a premium level. Well, just for simplicity's sake, I don't need to have 85 different products. I just have those 2 products. And what I can do is I can create an infinity amount of coupon codes and give them to sales reps. At that point, when people use the coupon codes and they sign up, everybody has a consistent name. Everybody signed up as either a basic member or a premium member. If I'm doing a marketing campaign to upsell my basic members to premium members, I don't need to do it to 15 different products. I just need to select that one individual membership level. So it really simplifies the management of your members.
Yeah, so let's go back to that. That's that kind of the dummy website with the data in it, the transaction data in it. Let me get there, and let's actually do some searches for coupon codes and see what we can get. Let me pull one up here. All right. So here is a search for a coupon code VIP25. So we can see for all time, it's done this much revenue, and there's past due and refund. What's really sweet is your sales reps are going to want to get paid for the work they did during a certain month. So generally you pay out either 30 or 60 days after just to compensate for any refunds or credit card chargebacks. But what is today? We're in October. So let's say we're going to pay out our sales reps for the sales they did not in September, but in August. So we can go to the date range picker. Let's say VIP25 is Pat's secret code that I have for him. So I know any sales from VIP25 were from the sales rep, Pat. Just going to do a quick search here. So I know that VIP25 generated 5 sales, $386, and Pat's commission is 10%. So I know exactly how much I need to send to Pat for his sales in August as a sales rep for the company. And honestly, it's simple as that. You can just keep track of how much you've paid out the sales rep somewhere in Excel, just so there's some history on that, and probably that you're going to send it with a check or your bank account. That'll record it for you anyways, and you're good to go. Any other input on this, Pat?
I think just looking at the pros and cons list that you had up, I think another one that we haven't touched on is the fact that you're giving them a good reason to sell. If I'm a sales rep and you're telling me, hey, here's a promo code worth 25% off my website for life, a lot of you might say, but I don't want to lower my prices by 25% because I want to be able to charge this set amount of this set rate. What I recommend in that case is you just increase the price of your website to give your sales rep an edge when they're selling. If they can offer to potential customers a discount, then they'll know that those potential members are less likely to sign up on their own. What's really important is, as a sales rep, I want to have confidence that if I send someone to your website and I give them that coupon code, that they're not going to find a cheaper or similar rate on your website, because I'm not going to have the confidence that they're going to go through with that sign up. So these coupon codes gives your sales rep that confidence that, hey, even if they talk about the website, they're going to definitely want to use that coupon code because that's the cheapest point of entry. Whereas the first option we shared doesn't give you that benefit. I might go to the membership page to sign up and not sign up and browse the site and sign up later, and that sales rep wouldn't get the credit for that. So I really like this option.
I do as well. And really, there's only one con with this, and it's really compared to the affiliate program. So with the affiliate program, if I send traffic to your site today, a person to your website today, the web browser remembers who that customer is, and that my website as a sales rep send them to you. So if they end up buying 10 days later, I still get the credit for sending them to your website in the first place. And then again, the buyer must use the promo code to connect it to the sales rep. But as Pat said, if the promo code provides them with a little bit of a discount, the customer is incentivized to utilize it. And everyone wins at the end of the day. So you lose a little bit of the automation that comes with affiliate software, but there's a lot more convenience with how quick and easy this one really is, and how easy, and more about how easy it is to give out promo codes to your members and see the reporting on which promo codes are for new and recurring sales are being generated.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's pass it to you guys in the audience here. Raise your hand if you have a sales team, and if you're tracking how you're tracking sales. We want to know what tools you might be using, or if you have sales reps or you're thinking of starting an affiliate program. This might be a better way to track sales from people on your team. So if we got any hands up, we got Linda. Linda, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. Where are you calling in from?
Huntington Beach, California.
Hey, we just took a trip to Huntington Beach. Beautiful weather there.
Oh, yeah.
And is this your first webinar with us? Have you been in webinars before?
I was here last week.
Awesome. And how's the webinar today for you?
Really good. I'm learning some stuff. I don't have any affiliates yet. I'm looking to sign up a couple of people, and I really like the coupon code thing. I do have a question. So what if I did, so I have three membership levels, paid membership levels. So what if I did 3 separate paid membership levels for all of my affiliates and gave each individual affiliate a coupon code so I could track them? Is that something that would be a good way to do it? Just so that from a discount.
Say that one more time. So you have 3 sales reps.
I don't have any sales reps yet. I have three paid membership.
Right.
Yeah, 3 membership levels, and I don't have sales reps yet, but I thought about doing 3 separate membership levels with the same pricing and then giving the affiliates coupon codes to use.
So yeah, you'd be taking advantage of number 3 and 1 here. So let me backtrack. You'd be assigning specific products to the reps and providing them with coupon codes to use.
Yeah, but each individual rep wouldn't have individual products. It would be the same 3 products for any reps that I have. Is that still, you think that was workable?
Yeah, with the coupon codes, that should work smoothly. And you'll just need to keep track of which coupon codes are associated to which reps. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
I think you'll be good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Good question there. Yeah, so she'll be using strategy number 3 there. Let's see if anyone else has their hands up. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, great. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you out there, and we can move on to our favorite part, questions and answers. If you have questions about your Brilliant Directories website on how things work, maybe you're trying to troubleshoot something, maybe you're trying to grow your community and you might feel like you're stuck, we'd love to take your questions now. You can chat them in, or you can use the raise your hand feature, and we'd be happy to unmute your microphone and take your questions. And we have our good friend Yolani. Yolani, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Excellent, Yolani. Where are you calling in from today?
From Panama.
Panama. You've been on the previous webinars. Is your website the Mucho Gusto website?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, no, it's great that you joined us today. Thank you. What's your question?
Hey, Jason, we enroll Mucho Gusto in some local contests, and then we've been chosen first for the e-commerce day startup competition.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's gonna be tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we have been accepted to another one, and that's gonna be taking place on October the 30th. So my question, and we are a little bit nervous about, we have an all-in-one local guide. And I guess my question, because our biggest thing is like, we always get asked like, what should I pay you if there is free services with Facebook, for example? And then the second thing, because we are a startup, we haven't invested in any advertising yet, so we probably don't have that tracking like Facebook do or other directories, but this is where we at right now. And I wanted to ask your opinion, your quick opinion, or your advice, probably in the things that we should talk about, the main top things that might make us different, you know.
Gotcha. So yeah, we talk about this a lot in the webinars. First of all, congratulations. So just in case, so to make sure everyone got that, Yolani has submitted her website more of as a company to an e-commerce contest and competitions, and you've been selected to be showcased. Is what you mentioned?
Right. So yeah, we are gonna be in the competition. So if we win for Panama, then we go and compete with other Latin American countries.
Gotcha. This isn't the first time I've heard this. Brandon Chris, I think he's been on the webinars before. He had a directory and he won a competition. I believe he said on the webinar that he won a $50,000 prize for submitting his site to for a certain industry. So that's great to hear that you're taking it to the next level, and it's great advertising to, even if you don't win the contest, being a part of it is great advertising because you get to showcase your website. So your question is, how can you explain to people why your website is different than joining like another type of business directory website? Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Well, I want to do one thing first. I see, and by the way, you've translated your site in Spanish. I see you have events and products and classifieds and galleries. Do all of these have content, Yolani?
They do, not much content though.
Okay. But this is a startup competition you've joined, right?
It is a startup competition. Yes.
Right. So showing them that you have these features available for people to is just as important as having a lot of content, I'm assuming.
Yes.
That hey, members can
Because it's an e-commerce, so we gotta showcase that, you know, the beauty of the technology of the Mucho Gusto platform.
Gotcha. So let me ask you a question. What purpose did you create Mucho Gusto for? What is your mission of Mucho Gusto?
Okay. It's a marketplace for the users while provides multiple marketing promotion tools for the SMBs, small to medium sized business.
Okay. And what problem is it solving?
We believe that the small to medium sized business don't have too much money to invest in traditional marketing like TV, radio, magazines, billboards. And Mucho Gusto is a window where they can showcase at a cheaper, on a more affordable price, because it's about digital media and digital marketing tools.
So let's say I'm a small to medium sized business and I join your website and I add a video and I add a coupon. What are you going to do for me after that? How am I getting broadcasted to the world?
Yeah, we are using some social media tools like Instagram and Facebook to promote the Mucho Gusto site, but also we are attending a lot of networking events. We are working with we are doing some negotiations with local allies, like one of the local banks. They are very big in the SMBs, and we are just very close to close the deal where they can endorse us, because they host different events throughout the whole country to promote um, things that can help the SMBs to grow. We are also
Oh
in
wait, I
negotiation.
want to stop you right there. So you brought up
Sure.
a good point. So you just said to help the SMBs grow. So from an infrastructure standpoint, like if my business needs more, like a loan, like so that would be like if the bank is going to help me, that's more business to business. Or are you trying to connect the SMBs with end user or consumers coming to this website, the end user, the customer?
They normally, the banks are hosting like business events where people go and network, and they also learn, just like you are doing with Brilliant. They are learning different tools. So the bank has like a little trade show where there's gonna be local providers and there are speakers, and then people go network, but people leave. And what Mucho Gusto is trying to do is like, okay, they leave, but Mucho Gusto is a directory where you can stay. So beyond the network event, then all the SMBs can stay here, and then we can keep networking 24/7.
Okay, so you want to help SMBs strengthen their operations and connect SMBs with more customers.
Right. SMBs can connect with other businesses, but they can also find clients, because there are going to be users. Once we advertise the platform, there are going to be users
Okay, so
that are going to go to Mucho Gusto.
So what is your plan to attract customers, the end users that need to the businesses on your website?
Right. That's where the SMB comes in place. As an SMB, you can advertise your business and then create your coupons and your events and all the attraction that the users need. Once we advertise the platform to the users, then the users can come and then find all those promotion and attractions.
So how are you gonna advertise this website to the customers, the consumers?
We have a plan for a mix of traditional marketing and digital marketing. Of course, focusing a little bit more in digital marketing. That would be Google Ads, Instagram ads, and Facebook ads, and then of course the allies that we are working on and the networking events, and probably some speaking out opportunities where we can go and talk.
Okay. Okay. I want to interrupt you for a minute. Now, is this website for any Spanish speaker, or are you focusing on Panama or a specific country?
Right now, we are focusing in Panama because our plan is to prove that it works locally.
Okay.
And then we might go beyond that.
Focusing on Panama is huge. I'm going to pass it over to Pat. Pat, can you tell us, because I mean, the United States is a huge country, but when you're talking about a country like Panama or Costa Rica, Pat, can you kind of share some strategies that you implemented on your Costa Rica specific directory website that you have? Do you mind? Do you mind sharing that at all, maybe?
Sharing why I think it's important to start on Panama and not try to go after multiple countries.
Start on Panama and how you maybe attracted end users and consumers to the website.
Yeah, I think one of the key factors is starting to put in some good SEO. If your primary goal is Panama, initially I think it is important that the homepage, and even though you're planning on expanding in the future, I think it's important to make it clear out of the gates who the intended audience is. Me as a business owner, I'm going to be much more engaged with the website if I think that I have a better chance that your website is designed to attract my target customer. People oftentimes see advertising on a website as an investment because they believe that their customer goes to your website in order to find information or interact or whatever it is your website offers. So for that reason, I think it'd be good that you just went out on a ledge and you made it clear this is initially for Panama, even though the domain is giving you an opportunity to expand from that.
So you're saying put a stronger focus that this is serving Panama right out of the gate.
I think so, because it's important if you're talking to those local business owners that they understand that you've come out here and you've built this to help Panamanian small businesses and medium-sized businesses and grow, and you're here to provide resources for them. And here's the partnerships that you're building, and you can be a lot more local, talk about the specific banks and the programs you're working on, and the networking that you'll be providing those business owners.
I also think in a country like Panama, if this takes off, it could spread like wildfire if it's done correctly, because there's probably just one or two major competitors for you, Yolanda, and this is something new. And if it's new and you find a new angle that the competitors or existing companies are not doing, and you provide some kind of inherent value that your website does that the other competitors don't, it'll gain, because people in those smaller countries, it's all word of mouth. From what I know,
right.
What I've seen is a lot of word of mouth. You tell one business, they tell them, then they tell their family, then everyone's telling their brothers and sisters, and the whole business and community knows about a site like this. So I think Pat's good.
Also, but when I was listening to the conversation, I just couldn't help but think about our last webinar, and I figured of all the webinars that we could go back to, it'd probably be the last one where we talked about, just because there's so much information and there's so much to digest, you need to be explained all of these things on the phone, and the explanation was 10 to 15 minutes long from the website owner. If that's the case, it's almost impossible for a website visitor on their own to connect all these dots. I think what we're sharing is the final goal, the final vision. This is what it's going to be when everything is said and done. It's going to do all these amazing and marvelous things, but there's not one clear target to start off with in terms of content. Like, it's not clear what the problem is that we're solving, what is unique about the site. And I think that's exactly what you're asking Jason help with, which is you recognize the importance of that, because that's your initial question, is how do you answer that question? And it relates to that to the webinar we did last week, which is pick one thing. Are we going to be trying to tell the business owners what this site does, or are we going to be trying to tell the end users what this website does? And when we choose that answer, then we decide, okay, if it's the business owners, what is the one problem we're solving? What is the one need that we're filling to start off with? And let's build an entire content machine behind that one type of content. I don't know what you think about that advice, Jason.
Yeah, that's sound advice. Yeah, I would recommend. I don't know if you're trying to just show everything off for the competition, to show like all the technology behind the website, but maybe once the competition's done and you're actually going to go after users, I would recommend getting rid of half of your main menu items here, and just focus. Like, there's a lot of drop downs here, and it's going to take a long time, Yolani, before you fill up each one of these sections. You're just making extra work for yourself. So I would recommend cutting this in half, your main menu, and putting a stronger focus on a few key things that you want the end user and the members to do. I had a question. What does your logo say? Big connections, and what is that what that is?
It says, great connections make great teams.
Make great what?
Great connections create great teams.
Create great things.
It goes after the mucho gusto. It's like, say, nice to meet you.
Yeah, with
and you see the logo, they're shaking hands.
Got you.
That's the first thing that business people do.
Right. So you can keep it like this. Maybe simplify the main menu and things like that, and put a stronger focus on Panama. Now, if you're trying to connect consumers with the businesses, what I would recommend is maybe consider the travel guide theme that we have, and putting a stronger focus on content, because I see you have events and deals, and making it all about Panama, like things to do in Panama, the top 10 like family restaurants in Panama. Once you put a focus on Panama, it's going to make your job a lot easier, because you have a focus. You can write lots of good content about Panama and the businesses that are in Panama. And again, I think it's going to be easier to sell your members when knowing that the site is focused on Panama, and the contest you're entering is about they're all from Panama companies getting submitted, right?
Yes. Tomorrow's gonna be about Panama first.
Gotcha.
And then if we win, then it's gonna go with other Latin American countries.
And there's nothing wrong. It's actually very smart if you enter those when you talk about your website, you could say, right now we're focusing on Panama, and we have an expansion plan. After Panama is in a nice place, we're going to go to this country and this country. And that's how Uber started. Uber selected 1 or 2 cities to do the car ride, the car riding in. And after they conquered one city, they went to another city, because they were able to hyper focus their energy and their resources. Because, and I've mentioned this before, when you're building a directory website, you're building a marketplace of the businesses who are listed, and a marketplace of the end users who are visiting the website. And you have to put resources to attract the end user and the professionals or the companies joining your directory. So the more focused you are with the niche and the market that you're targeting, the better you can balance that marketplace. I'll give you a simple example. If you have a website for all of the United States, for all businesses, maybe you're going to get a lot of lawyers from New York to sign up, but you're having a lot of people from California looking for doctors. So you have an imbalanced marketplace, and both people are going to have a bad experience. So you need to think about your website as a balancing act, and you want to focus on balancing that marketplace with the companies that are joining and the people that are looking, and that will give you a better focus, so that the people, when they come to your site, they're going to have a good experience because they're getting matched properly. So those are just some tips. And I wrote these notes here, Yolani, just as we were talking.
Mhm.
You can put, I was asking you these questions so you can have some talking points about what your plan is for this website. Because they're going to ask you what your website does, and then they're going to ask you what your plan is for the website. I'm just going to put this in the chat for everyone, just so I can share these notes here in the chat. But thank you so much, Yolani, for sharing your website with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, good stuff there, Pat. It looks like she's done a lot of upfront work with her website, and I think a lot of times what we see is there's a lot of upfront work, and I hate to say it, but usually our advice is to cut things back a bit to help simplify the process.
Correct. Having to me, you would need to have, and then going back to last week, to the last webinar, you would need to have all the content in place and the marketing materials in place for one type of feature on your website before jumping to that next feature, and going one feature at a time, so that you have the supported marketing materials and you have enough content in those features to warrant opening up a new feature and a new page on your site.
That's right. All right, Wendy. Wendy, how are you today?
Fine, thank you. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. How'd you like the webinar today, Wendy?
Oh, I thought it was great. A lot of good, because I didn't realize that you could, add new fields or change the ones that don't make sense.
Right.
And so that was good information.
Awesome. Well, good to hear. Good to hear. And what's your question for us today?
Actually, I have two, but
Okay.
they should be questions.
Okay.
The last two members that signed up asked for receipts, because they're businesses. One is a school and one is a architectural firm. And so they asked for receipts to sign up. Now, I know that I can download the receipts and email it to them, but I'm wondering why it's not showing up in their own profiles where they can have access to the receipts themselves.
Let's take a look together. Do you mind sharing your site?
ElegantLivingDirectory.com.
Okay. Do you have a name of like one of the members? Just
Yes, the newest member, which is any one of the two newest members. Let me find them. One is Roxbury Community College. Oh, that's the newest one, so you can use that one.
All right. Let me just check something out here. All right. I'm going to check. I'm just checking a couple things. I paused my screen just momentarily.
Oh.
Okay. I'm gonna unmute Matthew Brooks here, my good friend, one of the co-founders here at Brilliant Directories. Just give me one moment. Hey Matt, how you doing today?
Hi, Jason. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm here, Jason. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Doing great. How about yourself?
Good. Matt, how do we enable for the members to see their transaction history when they're logged in as a member? There's an advanced setting for that. Now, newer sites have that all by default, but I think Wendy's site was started last year sometime. Is there an advanced setting to enable the transaction history on the members end?
Yes, I believe there is. Let me just search for it real quick for you.
Thank you so much. Matt always comes in the right times here. So basically what we're seeing is we're on the transaction history page, the billing details, and it's not showing anything here. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable that with this advanced setting, Wendy.
Okay. All right, Jason. The advanced setting is enable member billing history.
Okay. And 99% of you out there don't need to worry about this. So we're just going to do this on Wendy's site here. All right. So I've done that. Let me just, I'm going to share my screen with you guys again in just a moment. So, okay, Wendy, you should be good to go now. Let me show you the screen. So the member should now be able to see their subscription history here when they're logged in. And there is an actions drop down where they can view the invoice or download the invoice on their own from their dashboard. So you should be good to go now on this site moving forward.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
My second question is for delinquent payments. Some members are delinquent, but they want to pay, you know, they don't mind paying up, but they always have to contact me so that, you know, I can force the payment. And I thought they would be able to make payments on their own.
So we just killed two birds with one stone. So do you see
Oh,
here the status says paid?
yeah.
So now that your members can see this, they can also see if they have any missed or past due payments. And there's
Oh,
a pay now button. So if you have any members, basically they'll have a big orange button here, whatever the color theme you're using, it'll say pay now. So they can update their credit card on file and see if they have any unpaid or past due payments here. So it can all be managed here now, Wendy.
oh, this is great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for sharing your site with us.
Okay.
All right, good stuff there. Good stuff about transaction history. And we also have our good friend Lindsay. I know you're there in the UK, I think. Lindsay, I'm going to unmute your microphone. There we go. Lindsay, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. It's the early hours of the morning here, so
I know. I wanted to make sure I got to you since you got your hand up there. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. And yeah, what can we help you with your site today?
One thing I get with a lot of my members, some of them are quite big companies, so the person that signs up might not be the person that would do the updates for their articles. Is there any way to have more emails that you can assign to a member's profile? So they could, to their marketing team, to their, to the finance people?
Yes, there is a way. What you could do is you could create custom fields like we talked about in the webinar today, and they can just input additional email addresses that they would like to be like CC'd in when you're doing correspondence with them. You would just manually use those emails as alternate emails for that member. The second thing you can do, and I'm going to actually ask Pat to chime in here. Something that's just coming top of mind is there is an add-on where you can manage sub-accounts or multiple profiles. In this case, it wouldn't be a multiple profile. It would be multi-listing manager. The only reason I'm going to this is the person who signed up would be able to create kind of an account for the other Coca-Cola rep, but I don't think this is going to work exactly because they're not creating another searchable profile for Coca-Cola. It's just another contact person.
I've seen some people customize this, Jason, and basically they can control what membership features they have. Again, it's not the Coca-Cola that could do this. You would have to work with them and create certain settings for the sub accounts. There'd be some customization involved, but they could technically share one listing, and it can be customized to have users. But yeah, you're definitely looking at customizing. But this would be the core of that functionality, would be this add-on.
And so let me ask you, Lindsay, let's say somebody signs up for Coca-Cola and then someone else is going to manage the account. Are you going to be personally emailing them back and forth, or which email address do you want to keep on file exactly for them?
It would be my email address. It's more for them, just because the person that signed up for the account, their marketing department might have an article or an offer they want to put onto the site.
Gotcha.
And I would.
Could they just? Could she just share the login information with that department?
I suppose I just wondered if it was possible sometimes to let them know, because I might send a message out. So I send a newsletter out saying we got an offer, we're doing this.
Okay.
And I could send it to the main person who signed up, but actually be their marketing department that I want to get in touch with.
Right. Okay.
Like when you run a business, you would send an email to your finance department, but I just so we got that information on their profile.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you could probably just create a custom input field called marketing department email, finance department email, and collect that information, and you'll just have it stored. You don't have to show it publicly on the profile page. That might be the most straightforward thing that you can do. And the person who set up the account can be the one who inputs those alternate email addresses as well.
Yeah, and something else that would be possible, Jason, would be to create, and it's not that hard to do, would be to create. Let's say I've started the Coca-Cola account, and my member signed up their Coca-Cola. I'm the directory owner. I may want to give them a link that they can give their marketing department that would log them into the account instantly and would take them straight to that form, so they can just add that content if I wanted to. So that's one option that people can have, and it's quite easy to do that with the Brilliant Directories platform.
Fantastic.
Okay. I don't think that fully answers the question, but it gives you some ideas and concepts that could work for you, Lindsay.
As long as I know it can be done, it's something that I can work on, whether I have to get some customization or not. But at least I know it can be done.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, because sometimes it's nice to have an email address because people leave companies, they change positions, etc., etc. So it's just nice to have multiple email addresses so you don't sort of lose the contact.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's different ways. Just depends on what kind of flow that you want to, and the way you want to capture that information. But there's definitely several different ways you can accomplish that.
Thank you very much. It's great for when you send out an update to a company and say, do you want to update your information? They could change names, change emails.
Absolutely.
Et cetera.
For larger organizations, absolutely. That would be super helpful. All right, Lindsay, thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
All right. I think we're good on time here. I think we had a great webinar, action pack. We're almost going on 2 hours here. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this webinar Wednesday. It's number 50. That's huge. Can't wait for the next 50. Don't forget about the tip of the week, how to track your sales reps revenue. We highly recommend using the coupon codes feature. You can also use affiliate software or renaming your products for each sales rep. Thank you so much for Rick and for Rick's Corner. I know a lot of people got a lot of value from today's tip from you, Rick. So thank you so much for doing that presentation for us. And then lastly, hooray for Webinar Wednesday 50. The next webinar, we had a scheduling conflict this October, so we took advantage of it. We're just going to do more webinars. There's one more webinar next week this month. It's going to be, actually, let me double check that. It's going to be October 31st. So actually, we're going to skip next week. We're going to do October 31st. That's going to give us a total of 3 webinars this October. So that's awesome. And then lastly, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and join the Brilliant Directories strategy group on Facebook. You can do that now. Go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And thank you to Matt for the cameo and the help with getting the billing transaction history showing on Wendy's site. That's it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us Webinar Wednesday, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks, October 31st. For the next Webinar Wednesday. Thanks, guys, and have an awesome day.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.